Alrighty. Welcome back, everyone. Surprise 90-minute AMA. Let's see who we got from the. Here we go. Wolfie and Jay. What's going on, guys?
Hi, Noah.
Hey, glad to have you guys on.
Okay?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Thank you.
Great stuff.
All right. Are you going to be the main speaker this evening, or is it going to be someone else?
So we've just got myself and Jay on the call for this evening.
Okay, sweet. All right, let me start the recording right on the hour. Hi, good afternoon, Whale Coin Talk community. Oh, sorry. Good afternoon, Whale Coin Talk community. My name is Noah, and we have a surprise AMA today, a special AMA, rather 90 minutes with Chronolyio. Chronolyio is a marketplace that is disrupting and revolutionizing the watch market and making it possible for anyone to fractionally buy, sell, invest in rare and collectible watches from renowned brands such as Rolex, Patek Philippe, Richard Mille, and more. So, gentlemen, before we get started, I didn't want to steal your thunder there, but give us a quick background of who you guys are, what kind of work you've done previously in the crypto space, and how you got to be working on this project today.
Perfect. I'll step in first, Noah. I'm not sure if it's just me, Wolfie, but he was breaking up speaking. Is it the same for you?
I didn't even hear him. Oh, there he is.
For me, it was all right. The only thing I picked up on is I think he pronounced it as chronology. It's pronounced chronally, but that will come out a lot through this conversation, so that's fine.
Okay, good stuff. All right. Well, look, can you hear me clearly, Noah?
Loud and clear. Yeah, my apologies. I just got out of 2-hour AMA with Monero, so I'm a little, my brain's a little foggy here, but I'm gonna get the gears going, and we'll be good.
Yeah, because it's just a bit choppy on my end. But look, guys, my name's Jay. I'm part of the Chronolyio team. And my background is I started off my career in financial services. I've been sort of the financial services and tech space for over 15/16 years. I wouldn't say I was new or one of the early adopters in crypto. I got into cryptocurrencies back in 2016, late 2016 / early 2017. I've been a watch collector, crikey, for probably over 12 years. Kind of was more of a hobby, and then kind of went into an addiction, if you like. And yeah, that's sort of a little bit about me. I'll hand it over to Wolfie.
Yeah, hi guys. Wolfie. My background's been in marketing, technology, and I've been in crypto since 2012, middle of 2012. So about 10 years now. And I predominantly help on the team with marketing all aspects of the token.
Beautiful. And gentlemen, let's start talking about this ecosystem that you're building and give us a high-level overview. From there, we can jump individually into the nuts and bolts of things and break everything down.
Okay, perfect. It's probably best for me, Wolfie, to kind of just give them a brief sort of overview of the actual concept and project. Chronolyio is the first fractional investment platform for luxury investment grade watches. We allow anybody, whether you're somebody with $10 or $10 million, to own part of exclusive and rare luxury watches. So that's what the Chronolyio concept is all about. Through our marketplace, we allow users to trade fractional NFTs, which are backed against real world watches. We allow users to redeem the physical watch on one of our Chronolyio vaults. Okay, we also allow people to borrow against their NFTs or their physical watch assets, and we also allow people via the trading platform to verify and authenticate real-world pre-owned high-end luxury watches, all on a decentralized ledger built on top of the Ethereum blockchain.
Beautiful. And so how would one go about owning a fraction of a watch, and kind of what would be some advantages of doing that?
Do you want to answer that one, Wolfie?
Yeah, sorry. Could you just repeat the question? It kind of cut out a little bit there.
Yeah, certainly. What would be some benefits to owning a fraction of a watch, and why would want to do that, and what would be some advantages of doing so?
So the watches that we will have on the marketplace are high value, so $50,000 and upwards, mainly. So obviously you don't have the everyday person walking down the street with $50,000 spare to invest in a watch. So they've opened up the marketplace to investors from as little as $10. So anyone essentially can invest. At the moment, it's kind of not possible. If you wanted to invest in a watch, you have to buy the whole watch outright. You're unable to purchase, say, $10, $20, for example. So what we've done is we've created a fraction, FNFTs essentially, so fractionalized NFTs. So we will have a watch in our vault, in a secure vault. It will then be broken down into fractions. And like I said, anyone can purchase from as little as $10 into that. So if you wanted to get into the watch investments, you would be able to without having to have money to buy the watch outright itself.
And how can investors guarantee that these watches actually do exist within your vault?
So the watches will be first and foremost, they'll be authenticated from a third-party security company that authenticate watches. Then what will happen is they'll be stored in the vault, which will be audited monthly from a party company. So it won't be like a third-party company that one of our friends own. It'll be a top 5. Someone like Deloitte will go every month and audit and make sure the stock is actually sitting where we say it is.
So do you currently have anyone doing that, or is it something that's in the works?
So this is something. This is something that's currently in the works, as the marketplace isn't live yet. It's scheduled to be live at the end of this year. So at the moment we're in this sort of pre-sale stage. We're raising awareness and we're raising money from the community to help with the development of the marketplace. So yeah, at the moment it's not live, but we're going to have the beta version live in December.
So you said that we can actually go against our NFTs. Are you planning on building that platform out yourselves? Also, what assets will we be able to borrow against our staked NFTs?
So it'll be watches. So if what I do know, if I just take it back a few steps in terms of kind of about the actual project, is when we're talking about sort of watches or luxury watches, most people tend to think of watches as status symbols. So, oh, you're doing well in life, or you're doing well in your career. You've got a nice fancy watch, and they look at it as pretty much as a showpiece, a piece of jewelry. Not many people know that watches, and the right types of watches, are not status symbols, that they're actually investments. They're being used and have been used as a store of value for decades. If you look at the statistics and you look at the data, investment grade watches, so for example, Rolex has outperformed the stock market, it's outperformed real estate consistently over the last 10 years. So if you would have invested, let's say for argument's sake, $100,000 back in 2012 across 5 investment grade Rolex watches, your money would be worth more than what it would be if you spread that $1,000 in a index tracker fund. Okay, and not a lot of people know this. So with Chronolyio project, we do have quite a big task. One task is educating, so making the public become aware that these watches are not state symbols anymore. They're actual investments. But also at the same time, we are democratizing the industry. So we're allowing the everyday person to own part of it, in some cases, these pieces, because a lot of the watches that we focus on, which we'll discuss later on in the AMA, are investment grade. So they're not your typical everyday watch that you can kind of pop down to your local mall and ask the guy to kind of, put one in a box for you. These are ones that are extremely rare and have extremely high demand. So that's kind of just to give you kind of like an overview of kind of the concept and how it works. In terms of sort of the idea and how we came up with the idea as a team, as mentioned earlier on in my intro, I've been in crypto 2016/2017. Got into Bitcoin relatively early. I made a bit of money in 2017 when it rallied up to $20,000. And what I then done is I also invested some of those funds into a collection of luxury watches. Fast forward to 21, 22, I reviewed my portfolio, and when I compare my returns I've made on my watch collection versus made my crypto collection, there's not much of a difference between the two. In fact, I'm less stressful holding $1 million in luxury watches versus holding $1 million in in Ethereum. So when that started to, when I sort of realized that, me, Wolfie, and the team, we kind of got together and was like, well, hold on, this is an actual investment. This is not something which was a hobby. Is an actual really good investment. So we started to do a lot of sort of digging and a lot of research, and we started to uncover a lot of problems in this marketplace, in this sector. And Chronolyio has been built to address problems. So one of the biggest problems that we discovered straight away in this marketplace was transparency, lack of transparent pricing. Somebody might want to watch in, for example, in Florida, and will have to pay, for example, $10,000, and then that exact same watch in, for example, Italy, will trade 20-30% below what the price is in the US. So one of the big problems that we discovered straight away was a lack of a centralized place to get pricing, to understand the value of your assets. A lot of it's based on kind of assumptions. So that was the first thing that we noticed. The second thing that we discovered in our research was liquidity. Where do you go if you have a $200,000 Rolex? How do you unlock liquidity? Can you borrow against it? Can you get a mortgage against your watch? Because watch is essentially worth the same price as a house. So we realized that the process of converting luxury watches into physical cash, into fiat, was slow, and traditional financing options just weren't available. And another big thing that we discovered in our research was counterfeiting in the pre-owned market. So this is not necessarily an issue in the primary market. And what I mean by the primary market is if you go directly to Rolex and purchase a watch directly from Rolex, you don't issue because you're buying directly from the manufacturers. But in the off the market, in the secondary market, counterfeiting is a huge problem. And it's not only the average Joe who can walk into the trap of buying a fake watch. Jewelers sometimes woodwink, as well as worth individuals and celebrities. I think I mentioned this in our last AMA. I'm sure for some of you guys that are into kind of boxing, I think it was Logan Paul in his last sort of fight. Who was it against? I can't remember. It was like
Floyd Mayweather.
Was it Logan Paul? Who's the other brother? Oh, Jake Paul. That's it, Jake Paul. Who was his last fight against? Jake Paul?
Tyron Woodley.
Yeah, so in his last fight, in his promotions, and you can Google this and fact check it. If you see the belt that he made, it contained a fake Richard Mille Bubba Watson. Okay, now you got to ask yourself the question: did Jake Paul purchase a fake Richard Mille? Of course he didn't. Why did he? The guy makes millions of dollars a year. But that just goes to show you how good these fakes are getting. And in the pre-owned market, it's a big issue. And we're here to kind of trap that and to bring more transparency to the watch market. So those are the problems that we kind of saw straight away. In terms of sort of the solution, I'm sure you're going to ask us lots of questions, and you guys will start to listen. As you listen, you start to see how our platform provides the solution and addresses these problems. And that's why we believe that this project is going to be disruptive.
Well, Jay, I appreciate you breaking all that down. I actually never thought of a Rolex or of luxury watches to be store values, or yet alone outperforming both the stock and crypto markets. So that's an interesting bit of knowledge that you shared. I can see the use case, like the value proposition of this project now, like being able to kind of pseudo invest in luxury watches through your NFT platform, your NFT marketplace. Where are you guys sourcing these luxury watches from? How many have you currently purchased, and how many do you plan on purchasing by the end of the year, up until when your platform actually goes live?
Answer to your first question, how many have we purchased? And that's 0. And we're not planning to purchase any as such by the end of the year. What we're doing, as we're a start tech company, for us, we're building strategic partnerships with trusted vendors who are going to work in partnership with us and supply us with this stock. That's all for our own context. So we've managed to get some provisional soft agreements and confirmations in place. For example, one provider will supply us with around about $10 million worth of stock. We've got somebody else who's going to provide us with around about $20 million worth of stock. For the vendors, it's a win-win because we're not charging them to list on the platform. So that's something that we're looking to roll out in the new year, towards the new launch in December.
Great. And which brand can we expect?
So the main brands that we're going to be focusing on are Rolex, Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet, Richard Mille, and Vacheron Constantin. So these are the main grandmaster watches that we're going to be focused on.
And of those you listed, which brand has done the best at holding value over the last 10 years?
Funny enough, all of them. It's not necessarily the brand holds value. It's the watch. So it's the type of watch model. So we're going to be focusing our attention on limited edition, discontinued, and exclusive watches. And generally you get that with a lot of the sports models watches, because generally speaking, athletes, actors, singers, celebrities, and actors generally buy these watches, and then once they're purchased, they're out of circulation, so you can't get your hands on them anymore. And then what's happened is with things like social media and crypto, you've got new generation of money coming into the market who necessarily don't want to invest in traditional assets like what our parents have invested in. And then with things like social media, it's accelerated awareness of these particular brands. So now you've got extremely high demand. Through COVID-19, you've got limited supply because of logistical issues through COVID-19. So we've seen a huge spike in the demand in the pre-owned market. And like I said, if you guys do get a chance, download the white paper. We give you some examples in the white paper of the kind of returns you're seeing on these, on these luxury items.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Felipe Patek Nautilus. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but
Nautilus.
Nautilus.
Yes.
The value, let's see, the value in August of 2019 was roughly around 90,000, if I'm reading that chart correctly, and now the value is upwards of 230,000. So that's like almost 3x.
Yeah, and if you look at the chart and you look at the curves on the chart, that's the type of chart I like looking at, versus looking at a roller coaster of, my portfolio is worth 50K today and it's down, it's worth 25 and it is up, to 200K. So we're not trying to replace crypto. In fact, to give you a little bit of an introduction to the story and how we got to this stage of implementing blockchain and crypto technology into our offering, is this is an idea that's been in the works for just over 2 years. So it's not an idea that we came up with in a bedroom 3 months ago and said, hey, let's launch a token. This is something that we've been thinking about, planning over the last 2 years. As I said, the light bulb moment came when we was all sort of discussing about our investments, which is etc. We didn't realize, well, hold on, these watches are actually doing better than most cryptocurrencies. So then we said, okay, well, how can we make people aware of this? How can we make people aware and get people to be educated about it and then start to invest in it? So typically, being from a financial services background, typically I said, okay, well, we can sell these watches just like stocks, right? So John, who's got 100, he can take it into a watch. We can then advise and guide him on what watches to buy, which watches to sell. In a very similar way to how it's done with art, with fine art. The big issue that we came across straight away was like, well, these watches are worth so much money now that the barriers to entry are going to be ridiculously high. So we're only going to be limited to high net worth investors. So the second thing was like, well, how can we democratize this? How can we lower the entry? And we was like, oh, well, why don't we, and you typically see this in like crowdfunding projects, like for like real estate, where you would set up a holding company would own the asset and you would issue shares in the holding company. So for example, if you stick 100K watch holding company and there's 1,000 shares, each share is worth $100, right? And people can buy and sell, etc., just like buying and selling in a stock. But the issue that we stumbled across straight away and the wall that we hit was its regulation and red tape. So doing it that route, there's a lot of issues, a lot of barriers for us on a regulatory level. Things like restricted investors, in a client classification. So it was like, well, no, this is not work. It's going to be too hard. It's going to be too difficult. Then we had the light bulb moment last year when we had kind of the whole big trend with NFTs. And hold on, what about if we could mint an NFT against the watch and fractionalize the NFT? It then opens up our market to everybody. And also we can add the element of decentralization as well, because ultimately anybody hold this. You can set up a MetaMask wallet and just download your NFT fractions on your MetaMask or your Trust wallet. So that's where the idea started to really come to light. And that's when we started to really get exciting, is when we kind of discovered that, utilizing blockchain and NFT technology, we can take this project, this idea straight to market, be on a global scale from day one. That's kind of where we're at.
So obviously fractionalization of NFTs is huge. A lot of people to essentially buy into an asset that historically has proven to appreciate over time. And like you just mentioned, with supply bottlenecks that are going on globally right now, it's only going to serve the price appreciation of these watches even more. I mean, obviously we're speculating to a certain degree, but the data speaks for itself. But that's it. Like, let's say that I wanted to just buy an entire NFT representing the entire watch. Do I get to physically own that watch, or does it stay in your vault?
Good question. Yes, you own the watch. So if you hold 100% of the NFT fractions, you can redeem the watch at any time out of the vault, and we'll ship it to you wherever you are. We will have partnerships with two of this security and logistics companies for luxury and high value items, being Brinks in the US. I think quite big in the US, and Malka Amit, who are huge globally. They're in charge of storing in the UK the Bank of England's gold deposits. So that's the kind of partnerships that we're striking.
Beautiful. And I want to kind of move on and start talking about your utility token. I'm curious to know, I guess, what kind of utilities it provides with respect to the overall ecosystem. I clearly understand the way that you guys are deploying NFTs, fractionalized NFTs to represent ownership of these luxury watches. I'm not quite seeing where the token fits into all this. So if you could clear that up for me, it'd be amazing.
I think I give this a look into Wolfie. Go on, Wolfie.
This is where I'll jump in, Noah. So the token itself has quite a few number of utilities behind it. First and foremost, you'll be able to earn a passive income on staking. Where we'll get that money from is from our lending protocol. So the money that we lend out, interest that we receive on it, that's where we'll be able to pay for the staking rewards. So it'll be anywhere between about 15 to 20% a year. So it won't be, where you see these thousands of percent APR and the token's crashed and it's not really sustainable. Secondly, we have a rewards pool. So there's a tax on the token, which is 6% buy and 12% sell. For the rewards pool, what we do is we collect the funds, and once a month, there's a lottery that takes place amongst the holders. What that is it's the first place prize of a luxury exclusive watch, and second and third place will win a cash prize. That's done by a live stream random number generator. It wouldn't be me running the rewards pool and Jay winning the watch, for example. So it can be all verified and authenticated by the users themselves. We got a discount on trading fees. Buy and resell, you'll receive a higher discount on the trading fees on the actual marketplace itself. We've got membership to the Chrono Wealth Club. So depending on the amount that you invest and the amount of tokens that you hold, if you hold $50,000 or more, you will receive automatic entry into the Chrono Wealth Club. What is the Chrono Wealth Club? Well, we like to think of it a bit like the American Express Black Card Centurion service. You'll have a watch. It's a bit like a watch concierge. So you'll have a specific account manager that you can contact via phone, WhatsApp, whatever form of messaging service you prefer. This account manager will help you source watches. So I always use the example, if you wanted to source a 1920s Rolex, the account manager will help you do so. They'll help you buy and sell watches that you're interested in. We send out a form to our Wealth Club members that they will fill out so we can personalize and tailor the service the best to suit them. You'll be able to attend live and virtual networking events for other Chrono Wealth Club members. So you'll be able to network and meet high net worth individuals, people that have interest in watches. And, if someone's just decided to join just to become part of the Wealth Club, then you'll be able to meet with them as well. So it's a little bit that side of it. The working side is a little bit like the Bored Apes, where a lot of people buy in the member to be able to network with these other individuals, so that you'll be able to do. You'll also receive whitelist access to our NFT collection. So we're creating 7,777 NFTs, which will be released in phase 3 of the pre-sale. That starts on July the 28th. Sorry, I've got that off. So
just to add in, sorry, Wolfie, just to add in there, Noah, just so you're clear, the Chronolyio Wealth Club is limited to only 7,777 members, and the only way you can gain membership to this club is through one of our exclusive Chronolyio NFTs. So I just wanted to make sure you're clear on that, and the audience is clear on that as well.
Got it.
So you'll also be airdropped. So with the NFT collection that we're creating, if you are part of the Wealth Club, you'll receive one of our ultra rare NFTs, which will come to you as an airdrop wallet. So you wouldn't need to pay for those or anything. The ones that aren't in the Wealth Club, they'll receive whitelist access to the collection. So the first 7,777 people that buy in will receive whitelist access and priority mint. So just to give you a little overview, at the moment, we've had just 8,000 users register to our pre-sale platform. Of those, 2,500 so far have bought. So currently 2,500 people own the crypto token. And we've got till September the 27th is when the pre-sale ends. So let's say we have 20,000 people that have bought in or have registered by the time the pre-sale concludes. At that point, the first 7,777 holders will be able to be on the whitelist for a guaranteed mint.
And for these NFTs, the 7,777 NFTs, what utility, I mean, apart from being part of that exclusive club, what utilities provide with respect to the overall ecosystem, with respect to the Rolex watches, or excuse me, the luxury watches? I'm kind of trying to understand how they tie back to the fractionalized NFTs and ownership of luxury watches.
Just to be clear, so with our own range of NFTs, they're not tied to the fractionalized NFTs. So that's just so we're crystal clear on that point. But the utility that they have is obviously is membership. That's the primary utility, just like sort of Bored Apes. But also the secondary utility that have, and this is again going to be more geared towards people that see the value in holding these watches, is you get almost first refusal on exclusive incoming stock. So to give you an example, we might get five watches in high-end watches from a vendor. Our Wealth Club holders for private route at first refusal before we list it on marketplace. That's number one. Number two, which then links into our lending arm, is when we have our loan, naturally with a loan book, you're going to get defaults, and our Chronolyio Wealth whole members will get instant access to liquidity events. So it's almost like bridge loaning. So when there's a distressed asset, they will get access to be able to purchase that distressed asset at a discount rate. So that's kind of the two main utilities that Wealth Club holders will have, alongside the concierge service, of course, and having that dedicated account manager.
And you guys are going to have a dedicated account manager for each individual?
For each individual of the Wealth Club. Yeah, for each individual of the Wealth Club.
Very cool.
We already have some people in the Wealth Club that are being managed by account managers that liaise with them for WhatsApp, phone calls. So we already have a number of people in the Wealth Club.
And I do see that you guys have a pre-sale coming up. Was there any sort of seed round, private sale that happened prior?
So the pre-sale started actually on the 5th of May.
Oh,
So yeah, that's what I'll say. We've already had 2,500 people buy the token through the pre-sale portal and around about 8,000 registrations. We launched it, like I said, on the 5th of May, and there were no private sales and no seed rounds. So we've allocated 30% of the total supply towards pre-sale.
understood.
And just to touch upon that point, Noah, the actual marketplace and platform and technology, this has the building process, the development of this has already started. It started way before the pre-sale. So the success of the pre-sale doesn't dictate whether we launch or the success of the marketplace. The actual the decision to kind of go the ICO / pre-sale route was something that was added later on once the marketplace was in development. So yeah, that's just because I know there's a lot of kind of these small meme projects which are kind of co-dependent on raising a certain amount of money in the pre-sale. Otherwise, they're unable to deliver on their roadmap. Here, we're delivering no matter what. This is kind of just secondary to the offering.
Understood. You guys have centralized exchange listings coming up. Are there any you can tell us about?
Just to add on to that before we go on to the centralized exchanges.
Yes,
so the liquidity is going to be locked for 1 year. Alongside that, what will happen 3 months prior to the unlock date, the liquidity will be extended for a minimum of a further year. The team tokens are also locked for a year, so no one from the team can sell any of their tokens for 365 days. Also, what we decided to do so that the market doesn't dump essentially on day one for those that are looking for a quick flip, token vested 8 weeks, and holders will receive 12.5% a week at the end of week 1 over 8 transactions. So they'll be airdropped 8 times to their wallet. And obviously that just ensures that new investors coming in to purchase the token don't just see a downward spike for those that are looking to sell off and profit from the pre-sale.
Got it. That makes sense. And I do like that you guys have taken precautions to make sure there's not a massive dump. I do see here that there's a multi-chain bridge development as well. That's pretty self-explanatory, but if there's anything distinguishing about it relative to other bridges, feel free to share. So
we will originally launch on Uniswap and then bridge over to Pancake sometime later. In terms of your centralized exchange question, it's a tricky one because we'll never tell anyone, yeah, we're going to list on Binance, yeah, we're going for this. Of course, that's our goal. And as long as the volume is there and as long as the plan is delivered, that will happen. But centralized exchanges, they want to see volume on through decentralized exchanges like Uniswap before they list. So we've had pricing, we've had talks with the exchanges, but we've got to show the volume first, which I don't think we'll have a problem doing with the amount of holders that we've already accumulated, and especially the amount of registrations that we've had.
Got it. And John, I don't always think that being doxxed is indicative of a successful project. We've had projects that are being run by doxxed individuals get rugged, vice versa. There are projects that have been launched by anonymous individuals that have done very well. With that said, because you guys are planning on storing quite a bit, quite a few wallets and quite an exuberant amount of physical assets, I'm curious to know if you guys are doxxed, if you guys are registered wherever you're based, and kind of if you plan on having multiple third parties. And you mentioned before multiple third parties that people know and can expect actually coming to your vaults and making sure that every single watch is accounted for.
Good, very good question. So first and foremost, the team aren't doxed at the moment. The reason they haven't doxed is because we wanted to establish everyone's position within the company before releasing that information. That being said, a dox is occurring in, well, for my time, I'm currently in Dubai, so for my time, it's tomorrow. A dox is happening 30th of June. So the team will dox in the white paper on the 30th of June. When you talk about, like I mentioned as well earlier, about auditing the watches. So the watches will be audited from a top 5 firm, someone like Deloitte. So they'll come round every month to the vaults, check that the stock's actually there, and verify everything is as says.
Got it. I have a few questions here from one of my co-hosts. Got Glenn. Glenn, if you come on the mic and ask away, go for it.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I was looking in the future. Will you expand rare pocket watch, which is my favourite. I've collected quite a few in the past. It's an older sort of antique. Yeah, I do really love them. Or antiques, rare antiques and art in the future as well. Did you get that question, Jay? Yeah.
No, it's very choppy for me. I can't hear.
Sorry.
I'll be honest as well, and I didn't quite catch it.
Okay, I'll try again. I was looking.
I have a pocket watch, but that's about it.
Right. Is this coming through better? Does that sound okay?
Much better than me.
Okay, cool. In the future, I was looking if you'll expand to rare pocket watches, which is one of my sort of favourites. I've got quite a few collection of that, and other rare antiques and art in the future, or you'll just stay with the wrist watches.
Good question. We had this question earlier on today as well when we was in another AMA. Naturally, if this is as successful as what we think it's going to be, naturally the brand will probably pivot and diversify into other high-end collectibles. But that's much further down the line. We decided to purely focus on a niche of watches because it hasn't been done yet. If you look at kind of fractional ownership at the moment, it's huge in the United States at the moment. You've got a lot of companies that allow you to fractionally invest in things like, baseball cards, sports cards, memorabilia, Pokemon cards, etc. So we feel that space has already been covered, but nobody's covering this asset class. I think that's where we have an edge, is because we're operating in an alternative space that, in my humble opinion, far outweighs other alternative assets in terms of whiskies, wines, Pokemon cards, basketball jerseys, etc., where you're relying on a auction-based model and there's very low liquidity and you're totally relying on the intermediary. With Chronolyio, one of the beautiful things about it, Glenn, is if you, let's say for argument's sake, you on our platform and you purchase, let's say you put $2,000 in a watch, right? Watch is worth 10, you own 20% of the watch. Let's say in a year's time, the watch has gone 10 to 20, so it's doubled in value. I said, you know what? I fancy buying the whole of this watch. On our platform, you'll be able to place what we call a buyout offer. And that buyout offer is sent to the rest of the token holders of watch. Those token holders have a 7-day window to vote. Those who vote, it has to go on the majority, i.e. 51% majority, I know. Those guys who don't vote, those votes do not count towards the majority. Let's say it goes in your favor, Glenn, and it's a yes. The beautiful thing about it is you can then have the option to keep your NFT watch held on your digital ledger or wallet, or you can redeem the watch physically out of our vault. Again, that will be shipped to over 130 locations worldwide.
Okay,
So
cool, Jay. Yeah.
just to add on to that,
Hmm.
Glenn, I think you were mentioning, will we have rare pocket watches on the site, right?
Well, yeah, that'd be cool.
So, yeah, eventually we're going to start with 30 watches, which will be around 100k each per watch. But once we expand further, like Jay said, we can look to diversify into other assets. And yes, something rare pocket watches, vintage watches will definitely be in sight.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Those are on the cards. Yeah, those are on the cards. But I think in the beta stage, we're gonna obviously stick with stuff we know. But pocket watches is definitely, I can imagine being on the platform.
Okay, awesome, guys. I was wondering, will you invest in broken rare watches as well and repair them in the future? Will you have some sort of experts that, so you can add value for investors, and the investments by repairing ones that are cheaper initially because it's not working?
To be honest, probably not, and that's purely because we've positioned ourselves as just a marketplace. So we don't hold any of the watches as an investment ourselves. How we make our money is on charging a royalty fee on each transaction, so on trading fees. So for us, we want trading volume through the platform, and so I can't imagine us kind of buying broken watches and refixing them. But I would say never, but it's not something that we've thought about, Wolfie.
No, I mean, we've got first mover advantage here in a new concept. So for us, we want to try and take full advantage of that. There are obviously quite a lot of places out there that repair watches that are well established. So at the moment, we wouldn't look to try and get into competition with that. We'll just fully try and nail what we're doing.
Yeah, fair enough, guys. Yeah, it's super exciting because we've had AMAs with some a rare antiques company that they bought, a Banksy, and that adds value to the floor price of the token as well. So as you build up these watches, then obviously the value of each watch will mean floor price has to rise because you've got real world assets. So it's super exciting, guys. Thanks very much for the answers.
Thanks for your questions, Glenn.
Yeah, thank you for the questions. Those are some good ones. Gentlemen, I agree. I haven't seen anyone doing anything quite like this with respect to attaching NFTs to luxury watches. So you certainly have the mover advantage as far as I'm concerned. I'm curious to know how you all are marketing yourselves, getting your name out there, and generating exposure about your brand and the ecosystem that you're building.
So we're partnering with top influencers, top crypto influencers. So it's not someone that, you go on a YouTube channel and just get a shout out. Looking for sustainable partnerships with crypto investors. We run PR marketing campaigns. We've also got, currently, we're not to say because the signature has not been put down yet, but we will have a global superstar that everyone knows who is an athlete who is very, very into watches. Giving you a tiny clue, you were very into it at the beginning. I noticed you knew your stuff. So we'll have a global superstar who will be promoting the brand. Other things we were thinking about, not right now, because they're very, very costly, but things that we've thought about and discussed recently. For example, when you've got the Olympics, the gun goes off, and you see the timer in 100 meters. Usually, I think it's Amiga that sponsors it, or it's kind of different every few years. But I wanted to essentially end up having Chronolyio next to the shot clock, like the races. We can also go to things like NBA timers, NFL timers. So I think that's sort of endless in terms of the marketing. Right now, we've done quite a lot to be able to acquire 8,000 users, obviously, on the platform since May the 5th, since the beginning of May, so over the last 7 or so weeks. And we're just looking to, the market's obviously been very shady recently. So it was a great time for us to negotiate deals with people that we were going to invest in and companies that we were going to invest, people that we were going to partner with and companies that we were going to partner with.
Yeah.
So it's a great time for us to be able to negotiate really good deals to get a great return on our marketing budget.
Another thing to add, Noah, the great thing about the Chronolyio project is the fact that in terms of the marketing, that's the exciting part of it, is because we're kind of covering like two markets, like the real world market plus kind of the crypto side of it. There's a lot of exciting opportunities that we can do in terms of real world marketing, as well as kind of your traditional, digital crypto marketing. So like, Wolfie said, celebrity endorsements and ambassadors is something that we're exploring. We're going to be doing a lot of real world marketing through kind of trains and tube and taxi adverts. We're going to be potentially in the future is looking at kind of sponsorship deals. So negotiating a sponsorship deal with a particular sports team or a particular sport. So the opportunities out there are endless in terms of the marketing strategy. So yeah, and as Wolfie said, the bear market has given us a great opportunity now, because we've been able to spend the last sort of 3 to 4 weeks on negotiating deals and closing marketing contracts so that we can fully take advantage of this.
You mentioned at the beginning of the AMA that a Rolex watch, for example, might be trading a certain price in the UK, and then it might be trading at a premium price in, let's say, the UAE. So how are you guys deciding, or rather, what data is your protocol collecting to ensure that the prices that are represented for each of these watches and the NFTs that are associated with them are projecting accurately?
Well, we're building, in our roadmap is we're building our Oracle. So a lot of the data is it's a system that's proprietary to our in-house development team, where we're obviously looking at certain data points to create sort of an average pricing mechanism that allows us to actually price and value the assets that are traded on our platform. How that ties into your example about the price discrepancy between a watch and two different locations, that's naturally going to happen anyway, even with the Oracle, because you've got different tax duties and certain different jurisdictions that might dictate the price of a particular watch. So, for example, me buying a Rolex in Switzerland might be completely different to me buying a Rolex in Canada, for example. Okay. Or in the Caribbean, the duty is quite high, the import duty. So naturally you will have that, but I was more talking towards where you've got two countries where the import duty is the same. Generally speaking, currency risk plays a big part, and like I said, even things like availability in that country plays a big part to what is actually worth in that country.
Okay, understood. And will your ecosystem offer any sort of arbitrage opportunities?
Potentially, yeah. Because we're not pegged or tied to any particular currency. So on our marketplace, users will be able to pay using crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, stablecoin, as well as fiat currency. So yeah, there will be opportunities because we're going to universally list it at the price that we've set on our system. So yeah, there are probably opportunities there for somebody to pick up 100% of an NFT, purchase it for one price, and then sell it in the raw market, an uplift. Yeah, I could see there could be some arbitrage opportunities there.
And let's say that I was able to pick up a really cheap Rolex, a legitimate one. I keep using Rolex as the example because it's, in my opinion, yeah, exactly. Let's say I was able to pick up a Rolex for much cheaper than the market value in South Africa, name a country, and would I be able to then take that Rolex and sell it to you guys for a premium and have you add it to your vault?
Yes, providing it ticks the right sort of boxes and criteria at our end, then yes. So again, actually, when we have the marketplace, we'll be inundated with people that want to just sell their watch because they prefer to sell it to us, knowing that there's a transparent pricing mechanism and it's hassle-free. I'm not sure about you, Noah, but most millennials don't really want to walk down to the local jewelry district and enter into kind of like a bartering contest with the local jeweler. You know, people just generally want to say, okay, how much is it worth? Okay, worth 10K? Okay, I'm buying for 10K. And, you know, funny enough, that's kind of what was the main driver for me. And to kind of give you a little bit of a story was, there was a time a few years ago where there was an opportunity that came up for me to invest some funds into a particular project, a real estate project, and I needed to get my money on some cash quickly. So I had some options. I could have liquidated some of my crypto into fiat, which I didn't want to do because the crypto market was booming. And I said to myself, well, look, I've got a lot of watch here that I've never worn. You know, they've gone up in value. I might as well just maybe take these 3 watches and sell them, and I can probably come and buy them back by the time the deal's finished at roughly at the same price, maybe 10 or 15% more. And I ended up not selling the watches because the whole process was painful. It was like, how much is my watch worth? Dealer 1, what do you want for it? Okay. Dealer 2, how much is my watch worth? What did you pay for it? It's like, you know, it's not really a pleasurable experience. And I think that's what we're trying to do now, is a lot of people that just get put off feel like we go into kind of some Shark Tank situation and start negotiating with watch dealers.
Yeah, that makes sense. Gentlemen, I wanted to jump to audience questions here in a bit, and I was going to circle back to some more questions from my end as well. But before I do, I want to take a quick break and ask you guys if there's anything that I haven't touched upon yet, anything exciting that you have shared with other AMA channels that I haven't covered. Please go ahead and share that with us now.
Yeah, so from my end, 2 points that I really wanted to add. So this couldn't have come at a more perfect time for Chronolyio. And the reason being, number one, is if you have a look at the stablecoins situation recently, or I say stablecoins, but I'm in fear to use that kind of word more. If you have a look at what happened, for example, with let's just take USDT, right? Last month, where it depegged to around 9%.
I think you mean UST, right?
No, USDT actually depegged around middle of May. It depegged on 8-9%.
Oh, I did not know that. Interesting.
Yes, not for very long, but it did depeg, I think, for maybe a day or so, if you have a look at the charts. So this is an opportunity, especially with the whole UST depegging. I mean, that's another story in itself. But this is an opportunity for investors that feel safe or like holding stable coins to actually hold something that can't depeg 10% overnight or can't depeg 80% and completely crash. This is an opportunity for investors to hold their money in something that's physical, but they can hold their money digitally in crypto, still holding the NFT. So that's one thing. I'm not sure what you think of that now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, again, really cool that you guys are providing a medium for folks, everyday folks, to be able to invest in these assets that have shown historically over time that they not only appreciate, but they can even outperform the stock market and the crypto market. So I think, as you both mentioned, typically the average millennial is not able to go and buy a $250,000 watch. So I think that being able to purchase fractionalized NFTs that represent a fraction of those watches is very innovative. It's very cool, and it gets me really excited to think about not just being able to do that with watches, but being able to do that with other collectibles as well. I know you guys mentioned Pokemon cards and baseball cards. This is the first that I am seeing project that come up on our channel.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's very exciting, and I would like to maybe see what you guys put out down the line and purchase part of an NFT myself.
Yeah. Two other things I wanted to touch on was Metaverse Incorporation. So what Chronolyio are doing as well is currently we're in talks with two very large metaverses. Why are they entertaining our talks? Because we've already acquired 8,000 people on our platform, so we can bring users to their metaverse. So what you'll be able to do is, if you own an NFT, when I say an NFT, I mean the watch NFT, the NFTs that are backed by a watch. If you own that NFT or a fraction of that NFT, you will be able to showcase your collection in the metaverse. Not only that, something really unique that we're working on is you'll be able to actually flex, like to say the word flex, you'll be able to actually flex that NFT watch on your avatar's wrist. So someone could go around, they could know they could see you wearing that watch, they would know exactly what percentage of that watch you own, and you'll be able to showcase that on your avatar.
Also, just to add on the metaverse subject as well, is gaming as well. So it's almost as well the possibility of us partnering with metaverse games that allows, for example, somebody who's playing a game almost in the same way that you wear skins and like things like Call of Duty, you'll be able to add this particular watch to your wrist. And it's an actual digital version of the real version that you own part of that's being held in a vault, which is mind-blowing and so cool. Because like I said, millennials, we've grown up kind of almost living in a metaverse already. I've been heavily involved in gaming for years. So, I'm no stranger to buying kind of, virtual currencies and NFTs in fact, but yeah, so the video game side is something that we're extremely excited about as well. And like I said, there's going to be, like a Grand Theft Auto, there's going to be lots of opportunities for us to partner with some of the big game makers, where we can kind of integrate our NFTs into those games, which I think would be huge. And I'm not sure if you're on Instagram, Noah, but I think Instagram's going to be releasing a new feature for NFTs where you can kind of showcase your collection on your Instagram account. So again, that's going to be huge as and when that does drop. That'll be huge for us. Again,
yeah,
Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
I think, were you finished, Joe, or were you still adding?
I was still adding, but no, you go ahead. You take it. You take it from there.
So don't get me wrong, Noah. These all sound like very cool concepts, and the main thing I want to add is that they're not cheap. Of course, they're not cheap, but the project is looking to raise $10 million during the pre-sale stage. And like Jay said, the project is not dependent on the amount that we raise. So a lot of projects that go into MAs, they might have, we don't have a soft cap or a hard cap. But a lot of projects, not saying this channel necessarily, but a lot of projects looking to have a hard cap of 50 grand and lump that into the liquidity pool. Our ideal situation is to raise the 10 million, put 1.5 million cash into the liquidity pool, so 15%. And then with the tokens, it would show 3 mil starting liquidity on things like DEX tools. So these things aren't cheap to incorporate, like Metaverse Incorporation and stuff, but budget is there to be able to do so, depending on certain things. So it's not that, it sounds all fancy and everything, but we are able to fulfill what we want to do.
Beautiful. And gentlemen, I want to jump here to some community member questions. Before I do, I would like to know if you guys have any sort of giveaway for people that buy the token, any kind of whitelist spots for NFTs, and how people can earn those. Share that with us, and then we can start calling on community members.
You literally stole the words out of my mouth. So what we are doing, what we're doing in the next 10 days or so, is we've gone ahead and purchased a Rolex watch. We will be giving away to someone, no strings attached. So it's not a case of they have to buy the token or they have to hold this. Completely no strings attached. We're giving away a Rolex. You don't even have to be in our Telegram group to enter it. It would help. But we have lots of giveaways as well. So we'll be running a massive marketing campaign surrounding that, which you might come across in the next week or so. We have a lot of giveaways that we run regularly in the Telegram. So currently there's a $200 giveaway up for grabs for following us, following our Telegram, following us on Twitter, and doing a simple post. So yes, we do run regular giveaways for community members.
Beautiful. Love to hear that. We got a question from Western Beast. Go ahead, buddy.
Thanks, Noah. Great explanation, guys. This is my first question. I saw on your website that holders can use their tokens to get discount on the platform and storage fees. What are the requirements to qualify for these discounts to apply?
Sorry, you said what do you need to do to enter for the discounted fees by holding the token?
Yeah, what are the requirements?
So depending on the amount of tokens that you hold will depend on your tier level of discount. So the more tokens that you hold, the higher your discount will be.
All right, cool. My next question, do you have plans to connect the assets to the NFTs as hardware NFTs?
As hard NFTs, when you say it's hardware NFTs, could you expand on it a little bit?
All right. There are this kind of NFTs where you use a chip to confirm maybe on the wristwatches themselves. You're going to add a microchip that when somebody touches with their phone, it will emit a signal. Okay, yes, this is actually a very rare NFT belonging to Chronolyio. So would you have plans to integrate that kind of hardware NFTs into your project?
You mean like RFID sort of scan?
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's something we're looking at. So RFID is something that we have on the cards.
All right, cool. This is my next question. I saw on your white paper that users can trade their fractions 24/7 on Chronolyio's country markets. My question now is that what happens when someone buys all the fractions of a particular wristwatch? Even though this may not be possible, is there any instance where it is actually possible since someone chooses to buy all the fractions of a single particular wristwatch? What happens to that owner then?
So if the owner places something called a buyout offer, which I think Jim mentioned earlier in the AMA, if a buyout offer is placed and successful, the owner is able to burn their NFT fractions and take physical delivery of the watch at any point. So they can hold it in one of the storage vaults, which our partners will be Malka Amet. And it could be delivered by either Malka Amet or Brinks, a secure insured logistics partner. And what they'll be able to do at any point in time when they own those NFT fractions, 100% of them, they'll be able to take physical delivery to over 128 countries.
All right, that's cool. Because I wanted asking if your delivery is worldwide. All right. My final question. What if I have a high value rare vintage watch and I want to invest that watch in your platform? Is it possible for me to auction my watch on your platform?
So for security reasons, obviously there would, if we were to allow something like that, the market would get flooded with fake and non-existent watches. So for now, it's just watches that are owned by Chronolyio, where you guys are the beneficial owners. So we wouldn't allow something like an eBay type marketplace at the moment where you'd be able to list your watch for sale.
Yeah, so just to add in there, so the only way would be for us to purchase the watch from you, and then for us to list it on the marketplace. But later on, in the development of the marketplace roadmap, at some stage later on down the line, we will be able to offer a service where we kind of just NFT your watch for you and send you the NFTs, and then you can kind of hold them and sell them amongst your own network of friends and family, if that makes sense. Decentralized from Chronolyio.
All right, cool. That'll be all the questions from my end. I really appreciate your detailed answer. Over to you, Noah.
Thank you. Let's go with Minstrel David next.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for this privilege. This is a great project to see. It's one of its kind, and because it's one of its
Go ahead, Minstrel David. Go ahead.
There are things that need to be put in place before it to succeed. So I would like to ask the team, we've, like, as an economist, I learned in the school that for every project out there to succeed, there are things that need to be put into consideration. There are analysis that need to be understudied for you to have a successful project. And that they coin be SWOT analysis, which are the strengths, the weakness, the opportunities, and the threats. For this very unique project, please can you let us know, potential investors, what we consider to be the strength of this project, apart from every other project, because we have projects that are rolling out every day, hundreds of them. What do you consider to be the strength of this project, looking at its peculiarity and its distinction? Then secondly, what do you consider to be its weakness? Because being a peculiar and unique project, there are obvious, weakness attached to this project too. Can you let us know? And how you intend to minimize these weaknesses? That's secondly. Then thirdly, what are the opportunities you have? What are your opportunities? What are the things you see to be the opportunities that you have getting this way that makes it, to be something that potential investors want to go for rather than going for every other project out there. Then lastly, what are the threats? What do you consider to be the threats to this project? And then how do you intend to minimize them or eventually silence them if possible? Because for every project, there must be threat. And is the threat that's going to keep you going and keep you on your toes, is going to checkmate you. But then how do you intend to minimize this threat? Let me rephrase it. What are the strengths, what you consider to be the strength of this project that's going to make it to eventually succeed? Then secondly, what are the weaknesses? And how do you intend to tame the weaknesses, subdue them? Then thirdly is about the opportunity to have as a very unique project. This is a very unique project. And what are your opportunities? How do you intend to amplify them? And then the threat, how do you intend to minimize the threat? Thank you.
Great question. So it's not one that I don't want to answer at all, and I'd be happy to share a document with anyone. But you're looking for a SWOT analysis. We could talk to you about SWOT analysis for over half an hour. Just a couple of the strengths. We're the world's first 24/7 marketplace fractional investments in rare and exclusive watches. This has never been done before, so it leads us to great opportunities to be able to capture the market with first mover advantage. One of the weaknesses we consider is someone like Rolex turning around and saying, we want to do a marketplace ourselves. We see it so successful. There's, of course, nothing stopping that. One of the threats as well, I mean, you could put that into the same category, but a threat would be if the government were to turn around and say, we're regulating this side of fractional investments. So just as a very, very brief summary, it's a sort of very little SWOT analysis for you.
All right, that's awesome. So what do you consider to be the privileges attached to this project? And then how do you intend to override the constitution of the market for you to succeed in this project?
Sorry, I didn't catch those two just now.
Then I said, how do you intend to override the current situation in the market? Looking at the current clear state of the market, how do you intend to override this weakness to attain your success?
Well, ours is a little bit different because it's backed by a physical asset which has got appreciating value, historical appreciating value. So the market, we can obviously, like any project, we can only go with what we've got. But I don't think our success solely comes down to how the crypto market is running, because like Jay previously, we're targeting traditional watch investors. So we're targeting crypto investors. So we can, I would say we can't change the market conditions, but we can only push the roadmap forward there are no delays to it. So we can just keep pushing the roadmap forward in the direction that we've gone.
And just to add, it's, hello?
Please, lastly, before you go forward, sir, please, if you have an opportunity to change just one thing in this crypto space prior to your launch, what do you think that one thing would be?
I would like to see more people involved in the crypto space and adopting crypto themselves. But that's what I personally would like to see. What would I like to change? I'd like to change the markets, but it's not possible.
Great question. Let's move on to Mr. David. Thank you so much. Those were awesome. Let's move on to NFT Boutique. NFT Boutique, you there? Okay, let's go with Juvent Star. Juvent Star, make sure you unmute yourself so that you can speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks for the opportunity. My question is, now that the market is bad, most investors are scared to hold the token for the long-term value, because the holding this token is the project might not be doing well because of the current market right now. So let's say I'm an investor and I'm holding a token. So how will you ensure me that holding this token for the long-term period will be beneficial for me, even though the market is really bad? Because most investors will be scared that holding this token will be bad because of the market structure right now. So how will you ensure that holding a token for the long-term value will be beneficial for me?
Great. Juventus, thank you for the question. And gentlemen, I'm going to answer, but I'm just going to say really quick that I think that based on the presentation and based on the ecosystem that they're offering, it's kind of their value proposition, right? If you've been listening to the AMA for the last almost hour and a half, I think that they've made it pretty clear about what they're building and kind of the ecosystem that they are welcoming investors into. With that said, I don't think anybody here on this platform can ensure that the price of a token is going to go up or down, especially given the frothy state of the market that we're in. Jay Wolfie, I don't want to answer for you, but I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there because I just think that it's a hard question for anyone to answer at this point in time.
No, completely. And no one can not sure who asked the question, but anyone that guarantees you that a token's going to go up over the long run is please invite me to the token, because I'd like to invest myself as well. But no one can guarantee you success of the token. The benefits now of buying and holding long term is if the project works and we deliver to what we say we're going to deliver, which we have done so far to this date. If the project works, buying in something at a pre-sale gives you the best opportunity to reap the most return on your investment. So if you take a look at Ethereum's pre-sale or Solana's pre-sale, all these have rocketed thousands of %. So if the project works and becomes successful, as we hope and think will do, then that would be the most beneficial thing for you to buy in during the pre-sale period.
There you go. Great answer.
Like Noah said, no one can guarantee you success.
Yeah, and if audience members don't want to expose themselves to the volatility of the token, then you can wait for the NFT marketplace to come out and decide to purchase an entire Rolex, or excuse me, an entire luxury watch, or a fraction of a luxury watch, and you can base that investment decision on the fact that looking at any of the charts right now would show a outperformance of both the stock and the crypto market if you were invested in index funds in the former, or if you were invested in Bitcoin in the latter. So obviously this is not financial advice. Just do your own research and invest what you're willing to lose. Let's go with...
Yeah, I mean...
go ahead, Wolfie.
Real quick note, the team are very experienced and have a vast variety of skills and knowledge, expertise. The thing I would say is, although we can't guarantee success, we can guarantee you that we will do our best to make it a success.
Yes, love to hear that. Let's go with Bossman.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Good evening from here.
Good evening.
To the team from Chronolyio, I really appreciate your explanation of the project. Is a very awesome project. And so quickly, something just struck my mind. And so, are you going to be having a kind of physical, like a warehouse or a store where people can go and kind of take a look at the collection of these watches, or are you going to be doing some kind of auctioning or something? So that's the first question.
So the answer to that is twofold. First thing is we will host private events where, like showcasing events where holders will be able to come and view the items that they own physically. Because of the security vaults that we're holding the watches in, they don't store watches as a main core business. For example, one of the logistics firms that we're going to be partnering with, they store the Bank of England's gold, so it's not a place where you can kind of go on tours, if that makes sense. We will be hosting events near the location where we'll get them to then transport our collection to a safe location where investors will be able to come, network, drink wine, etc., and be able to view, a showcase of watches, etc. So that's stuff that we're going to be having in the, in the pipeline.
All right. Thank you very much for the answer. And so this, moving on to the next one. Now you talk about, okay, you're going to be hosting private event collections. So the question I want to ask now is based on the team entirely and the whole business model. So where is are you going to locate your offices, or offices, right? Maybe
Yep.
I believe you're going to have more than one location because you're dealing with luxury goods, in this case watches, limited watches. And I want to believe people would like to know, okay, if I'm going to order from you for a particular thing, I want to know how legit. I want to know that these people, this is address to the offices or whatever. You understand? So are you going to be doing this?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the key things is, like I said, we're a tech business. So yeah, we'll obviously have our HQ office but we'll have our offices in the US, the UK, Switzerland, and the Middle East. So those are kind of where the four main offices will be. And in terms of like locations, being that we're a global company from day one, we will have vaults in various different locations. So like, for example, Hong Kong will have vaults, Dubai will have vaults, Switzerland will have vaults, London will have vaults. So we'll have a list of various different vault locations so that when we purchase or acquire a watch, we will store it in the location that we acquire it so that we don't fall foul of any kind of import duty or any taxes.
All right. And I want to believe there's going to be like a catalog on your website where people can browse these watches and make decision on which, right?
Yeah. Have you ever traded stocks before? It's pretty much, the platform is a watch stock market. So instead of you being able to buy shares in Amazon or Apple, you're about to be able to buy shares in a Patek Philippe or a Richard Mille. So it's an exact same trading platform you would use for stocks, but instead of it being, stocks, it's watches.
Okay. Okay, that's pretty nice. Thank you very much. That's just my question. That will be it for now. Thank you very much, Noah.
Hey, thank you, boss man. Those are some well thought out questions. Let's go with Pirate next. Pirate, you there? Alrighty. Oh, there we go.
Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
My question is, can you hear me?
Yeah,
My
the answer
question,
to the question is yes, I can hear you. Go for it.
okay. Several projects are currently using multiple strategies to maximize the number of investors. What are benefits for those holding your token?
So the answer to that question was given during the AMA, but if you don't mind just giving a quick high-level summary of the benefits, the utilities for your token, that'd be great.
Yeah, of course. Maybe I joined halfway through.
Yep.
So what you'll be able to do by holding the Chrono token is a number of things. Firstly, you'll be able to earn a passive income from staking. So that will be around 15 to 20%. Won't be anything ludicrous like 30,000% where your token drops in value. There's a rewards pool, so there's a tax, and in that tax is a rewards tax, where all holders will be able to enter a competition that's run once a month. First place prize is a watch. Second and third place were cash prizes, which will be run via a random number generator on Google, live stream to the community to make sure everything's authentic. Buying into the pre-sale, depending on the amount you buy, you'll get a discount on trading fees on the NFT platforms on our actual marketplace. You'll get membership to the Chrono Wealth Club depending on the amount that you invest. So the Wealth Club gives you an account manager, networking live virtually with other Wealth Club members. Like Jay said earlier on, there will only ever be 7,777 members. With the 7,777, there will be an NFT collection of Chronolyio NFTs that will give you whitelist access for priority mint. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think that covers it all, and you made a good point. He might have joined in the middle of the AMA. Audience members, we do encourage you to be here for the entire AMA if you would like to win some of those prizes. Gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the call. Before you go, though, if there's anything that you would like to leave our community with, or if you want to give us a high-level summary of who you are, what you're building, I think it's a very cool ecosystem, very unique idea. And my favorite part about it is that you guys are using luxury watches with raw data that have proven their appreciation and their kind of their quality as a store of value asset class over 10 to 20 years. Oh. Did I lose connection? Jay, Wolfie.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. I wasn't sure if you caught that on my end or if I lost connection there.
Yeah, no.
I heard half of it.
No worries. I was saying that if you want to give us a quick summary of who you are, what you guys are building, and kind of your value proposition before we close out the AMA here.
I'll hand that over to you, Wolfie.
Cool. So Chronolyio is the world's first 24/7 marketplace that allows you to invest in rare luxury and exclusive watches. They're NFTs that are fractionalized and backed by the actual watch itself. Like Noah said, like it's been mentioned previously in the AMA, these are historical appreciating assets. So I like to think of it more quite along the lines of owning a stable coin that appreciates, it can't drop 20% overnight, for example. The team is made up of 8 core members who have expertise and experience in a magnitude of different skill sets and industry, worked in many different industries for some top companies. The team will dox in 2 days. Well, for me tomorrow, the team will dox on the 30th of June. So very shortly, the team will dox white paper. It's the world's first concept. It's never been done before. I'm really currently looking to be a real serious player in the crypto industry. We're not looking at a 5th page of coin market cap. We're looking to really nail it in the top 50 at least.
Beautiful. Well, again, thank you for coming on to Whale Coin Talk. It was my pleasure to host you, and that we did this on super short notice, but that was a great AMA. I'm going to be following you guys closely, and when you launch your NFT marketplace, I will be purchasing a fraction of one of these luxury watches. Again, audience members, not financial advice. Do your own research. Only that's what you're willing to lose. Whale Coin Talk is an educational channel, but very cool project, gentlemen, and hope to be in touch in the near future.
Thank you for inviting us, Noah. And guys, thank you for your time. If you have any questions that you didn't manage to ask, feel free to jump into our Telegram group or DM myself. If it's about the marketplace, send Jay a message, and we will get back to you with all the answers that you need.
Perfect. Jay, Wolfie, wish you guys all the best. Take care.
Thanks, Noah.
Cheers. Did you want to do a quick spin?
Yeah, we can.
We're gonna do.
Spin.
We're gonna do one giveaway. We had a community member ask some really good questions, so we're gonna do a giveaway to him, and then however many spins are left, we can just leave up the chance.
Yeah, sounds good. Let me just grab the list here. It takes a second or two to come through. There we go. Just give it a moment here, guys. I'll be sharing the list. So we're doing just one spin. Don't know if you can see it yet.
Oh yeah, let me see. Yep. Oh no, I can't see it yet. I always have to
Okay,
in my end.
Let me try again. Give me just a second here. Sometimes it's a little wonky.
Yeah, I still can't see it right now.
It should be coming up. I don't know what the hell. Is it coming up now? I tried to reshare it. I think it should be up. There we go. Let me shuffle it once or twice and get our winner here. And the winner is this gentleman, Aung Khan. Okay, I got his ID, and we'll DM him for his prize. me stop sharing here. Alright guys, I think that wraps it up. Thank you everybody for coming. Really awesome to have something in front of us. I know fractional ownership is kind of a lot of hype, you know, there's a lot of projects trying to sell, you know, land and all that, but this is really, I mean, first of its kind. We haven't seen anything like this, so it could be super interesting. So thank you everybody for participating and for the great questions.
Thank you, Acti. Take care, everyone. See you tomorrow.